Breaking news, Fins fans. The Buffalo Bills have fired Sean McDermott. Another team looking for a head coach. We're going to talk about the Miami Dolphins head coaching search here in a moment. But is it really a head coaching search, or we just being fadoozled by the new general manager and the front office? We'll talk about it. Let's get it.
Big C in the house. You know the name. Fin Posse Podcast. Changing the game. Fins up high. Feel the aqua and orange. Miami Heat blazing. We scorching the floor. Marino the tour. We stacking the saga. Legacy deep, call it football nirvana. Big C, break it down, got the stats in his veins. Play-by-play knowledge like he's calling the chains. Fins flying on the field, opponents feel the blast. Tyreek cheetah speed, leaving DBs in the past. Waddle with the wiggle, defense with the clamp. Aqua drip so clean, whole squash the champ. Tune in, Big C, got the mic on lock. Fin Posse Podcast, it's the cream of the crop. Breaking news, hot takes, repping the block. For the Dolphin faithful, it's the one-stop shop. Fin Posse. We the voice of the fans. Miami stand tall, got the world in our hands. Best podcast, yo, ain't no debate. Big C, big vibes, setting it straight. Defense smash, call it Aqua Tsunami. X locking routes like a South Beach Armani. O-line holding strong, trenches like a fortress. Big C dissected, no stack goes dormant.
Try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain. Pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane. Pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test. Expect nothing less, your check as I'm chess. What's happening next? He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson. He got a new engine from pain, it's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold an obsession. All in his possession, you got their attention. I'll leave an impression and take a redemption. Just kill no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression. You could try to play, but you never gonna.
What up, Fin fans? Welcome to another episode of the Fin Posse Podcast. I am your host, Big C, and this is brought to you by Game Changers Media. How is everybody doing this wonderful Monday morning? I'll tell you what, I've been better because I'm pissed off what's going on with the Miami Dolphins right now, and I'll tell you why you should be too. Here in a few minutes. But breaking news coming out of Buffalo, New York this morning, up in my neck of the woods, the Buffalo Bills have decided to move on from Sean McDermott. To be honest, I think this is unjust. I think it's unfair to Sean McDermott. I think it's unfair. Sean McDermott's a pretty damn good head coach, in my opinion. I think he's a pretty good head coach. I don't think this falls on Sean McDermott that, you know, Josh Allen had, what do you have, 4 or 5 turnovers last against the Broncos. The fact that the Buffalo Bills general manager, the front office, won't go out and give Buffalo or Josh Allen any type of real weapons. Who if they really went out and got Josh Allen during the course of Josh Allen's career? Stephon Diggs? Stephon Diggs, is that the one big piece that they went out and got Josh Allen? If you look at Josh Allen's career, what pieces has he had? He's had Stephon Diggs. That's the one player they went out and got him. Josh Allen's needed help for years, and they refused. Name the Buffalo Bills receivers. They got a couple okay guys, but they don't got a true number one over there. I would say they don't even necessarily have a true number two. They got a nice slot receiver in Shakur or whatever way you say his name. But, I don't think this falls on Sean McDermott, but he's going to take this loss. But there's another coaching position. Guess what? More attractive to the coaching candidates out there than the Miami Dolphins. And I said it Saturday when I went live. I'm still under the weather, so this isn't going to be a super long video, but I definitely wanted to get back here and try to get back on track, on schedule. And, I think that a lot of you will agree with me why I'm pissed off about the Miami Dolphins. And a lot of you are going to disagree because a lot of you guys want to be super positive. Now, we probably won't have as many viewerships because my boy TD want to go live at the same time as me because there's breaking news about Sean McDermott, blah, 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 blah. So we're probably not going to have as many people in the chat this morning. But, it is what it is. Lombardo, good morning, bro. He gave up 30 points a game and defense not good for a defensive coach. I mean, you're going to have down years, right? You're going to have down years. You're going to have years where the defense, he's been a pretty good defensive coach. But eventually you're going to have fall off years where you got to revamp the roster. This defense is needed revamped. Milano, he's been injured the last few years. He's one of the better middle linebackers in football, but he's been injured and he's taken a little bit of a nosedive. Their cornerback position, has gotten older and they've had to replace with younger guys. Your safeties went and got old on you. They had Jordan Poyer and what's the other one's name that they had there for a long time? They had Jordan Poyer and who else? I hate having the brain farts, but they had two all-pro safeties at one point. You had Von Miller there, and all those guys need to be replaced. So, yeah, the Bills' defense definitely took a hit this year. It wasn't very good. But the Bills' problems have always centered around, I don't care how many points the Bills give up a game. It's always centered around how many points Josh Allen can give up. Josh Allen's turnover rate. Josh Allen's been a turnover machine, and then last year he was way better, and he won his first MVP, even though I think Lamar Jackson should have probably taken that home, but he won his first MVP last year, and he's been better about not turning the football over. But you got to give this guy some weapons. You got to give him some weapons. Now they've drafted James Cook, and James Cook has came out and been a great asset to them. They've drafted well at tight end. Obviously, they got some pretty good tight ends. Like I said about Shakur or whatever, however you say his name, he's a good slot receiver, a good possession receiver. But they need a true number one receiver. They tried to trade for Jalen Waddle. They weren't willing to give up this year's first round for Jalen Waddle. I think they actually lucked out on that because Jalen Waddle's not a true number one receiver. Jalen Waddle's not a true number one receiver. So they lucked out. We missed out. I would have loved to have gotten this year's first round from Buffalo for Jalen Waddle. I think that would have been a win for the Miami Dolphins all around. I think that would have been a nice asset to start the rebuild. What up, Miller? What up? So good news that as Miami Dolphins fans, the Buffalo Bills got eliminated from the playoffs this weekend. You're going to hear the Buffalo Bills cry about that. Brandon Cooks catch. Was it a catch? Was it an interception? That ball was moving around. Brandon Cooks never had full possession of that football. He never had full possession of that football. He was rolling around. The ball was moving around. Both guys had hands on it. He took the ball away. You got to have possession for you to have possession, right? The ball, if he had a hold of that ball, the defender wouldn't have been able to take it from him. Bottom line. He's rolling over with his body weight. You're telling me this Denver guy's going to poke his hands in there and rip it out? There's no way. But Bills fans, you continue to cry and debate that if you want to. It is what it is. You should have never been in a position to have that game that close if Josh Allen wasn't turning the ball over like he was. It would have been a different situation. The sad thing about that Buffalo game is that Bo Nix, and you know what? I'm not going to say I'm completely wrong about Bo Nix. Bo Nix played pretty good football. He's more impressive than I initially thought that he is. But at the same time, the way he plays the game, I don't think it's sustainable. I don't think that you can continue to roll him out as much as you do. He's gonna get his head knocked off. Bottom line, there's a lot of risk of injury the way he plays football. But he had a really good game. Heartbreaking for the Denver Broncos. They find out that he has a broken ankle at the end of this game, which super surprised me. My wife told me about it. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I watched him play the whole game. What are you talking about? Turns out Big C was wrong, and the wife was right. So sadly, that means that the New England Patriots, who beat a beat up Houston Texans team, they're without their top couple receivers. They lost their top tight end. Joe Mixon's been out the whole year. CJ Stroud did not play the greatest of games yesterday. So they ended up beating a beat up Houston Texans team, that wasn't at full strength. Man, that Houston defense is something special though. Will Anderson, an absolute monster. But the sad thing about New England winning yesterday is they get gifted a Super Bowl berth. They absolutely get gifted a Super Bowl berth. New England will beat Denver with Denver's backup quarterback. It's a sad thing to see. Now we got to listen to these New England Patriots fans. Oh, we're back. I ain't trying to hear that. You had a super easy schedule. Your playoffs, you beat a Houston team. You didn't do much in the second half. Drake May couldn't hang on to the football yesterday. If CJ Stroud doesn't turn the ball over 4 times, one time in the red zone, they don't win that football game. You know what I mean? So, they got lucky with that win. But I'm going to give them credit. I'm going to give them credit. But they are getting a free berth to the Super Bowl. Next week should not even be a close game. Denver should go, or New England should blow Denver out next week. And I'm super disappointed in that. Not that I'm in love with Denver. I really wanted Houston to go to the Super Bowl, I guess, if I had to have my pick. But I'm definitely sad that the New England Patriots are back on top of the division and headed to another Super Bowl. It just seems like yesterday that, it was Tom Brady and Bill Belichick leading the Patriots to a Super Bowl. Now we got to deal with a new quarterback and a new head coach leading New England to the Super Bowl, and we can't even sniff the playoffs. We can't even sniff the goddamn playoffs. Absolutely ridiculous. Miller says, I don't know. I like McDermott went into the playoffs 8 out of 9 times in his first year with Tyrod Taylor. Only missed postseason during Allen's rookie's year. Yeah, McDermott's not a bad coach. McDermott's not taking the Miami Dolphins job. But we're going to get into the Miami Dolphins job and why I'm pissed the F off. Yeah, Denver's rushing attack ain't good. Denver's cooked. If the Denver Broncos were smart, they'd be calling Tom Brady. They'd be getting on the phone with Mr. Brady and doing so. I don't know if it's even physically possible. I don't know if it can even happen. But if it could happen, you should be on the phone with Tom Brady today. You should be on the phone with Tom Brady today, begging, pleading, doing anything you can. What other option? There's not another option. If you have any hope of going to a Super, you need to call Tom Brady. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it's even an option, but you call Tom Brady. You call freaking Tom Brady. Call Tom Brady fast. 1-800 Tom Brady. That's the only chance the Denver Broncos have. And could you imagine if Tom Brady were the come play for the Denver Broncos and to eliminate the New England Patriots? What a story that would be. What a story that would be. That'd be absolutely crazy, right? Absolutely crazy. Let's talk about the Rams. They end up outlasting the Bears yesterday. So the Rams are going to the conference championship. The Seahawks also going to the conference championship. I thought Seattle was going all along. So now you got the Rams in Seattle for an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. And then, of course, you got the Denver Broncos without Bo Nix facing the New England Patriots, who are getting gifted a Super Bowl berth. So it's going to be New England in either Seattle or the Rams. Matthew Stafford has had a wonderful year. They're talking about who should be the MVP this year, Matthew Stafford or Drake May. I mean, Matthew Stafford's got over 10 more touchdown passes than Drake May. I don't know why it's a conversation. Matthew Stafford should be the MVP of the league. In my opinion, Matthew Stafford, if you look at the competition that Matthew Stafford's had to play up against what Drake Mays had to play, I don't know how it's even a conversation. Matthew Stafford's stats are better. I think 100% Matthew Stafford should be the MVP of the league. But we'll see. New England Patriots are going to the Super Bowl. Bet that, put that, bet all your dollars on New England next week. As far as our Miami Dolphins, I'll tell you what. I'm pissed the F off because this is going exactly the way I knew it was going to go. This is going exactly the way I knew it was going to go. We bring in Troy Aikman. People get excited. Oh, we're bringing in Troy Aikman as a consultant. Some outside point of view, some outside vision. A guy that knows football. A guy that's got connections behind the scenes because of his job at ESPN. We go and we hire John Eric Sullivan. Is that his name, John Eric Sullivan? Is that the guy's name? Yeah, I believe that is it. John Eric Sullivan. We go and hire this assistant from the Green Bay Packers. First off, I wasn't in love with that move. And it's nothing against the guy, but his whole career has been in Green Bay. The only thing that I can say about Green Bay, 100% truth, is that over the last 30 years, the Green Bay Packers have had very good quarterback play. You go from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers and now to Jordan Love. The book is still out on Jordan Love. What is Jordan Love's career going to look like? He's looked good in certain situations. And then in other situations, he hasn't been overly impressive. He makes me question whether he is the answer at quarterback for the Green Bay Packers long term. So I think the book's still, but as far as the Green Bay Packers, they've had decent defenses. Uh, as far as skill players, and name me some. Name me some. Name me where Green Bay's been successful at drafting. You know they don't go out in free agency and spend big money. So show me the skill players the Green Bay Packers have had over the years, over the last 20 years. There's not very many. There's players that have been elevated because of the quarterback play. I mean, you got back at the end of, Brett Favre's career, you had Antonio Freeman. Antonio Freeman goes to any other team. He's not a great wide receiver. You had Walker, you had some decent pieces, but what skill players have they had there? What skill players have they had there? What major great players have Green Bay drafted over the course of the last 30 years besides quarterbacks? And they didn't draft Brett Favre. They drafted Aaron Rodgers, who they got very lucky that Aaron Rodgers fell that far in the draft. They drafted Jordan Love. But what great players are they known for drafting? Miller says, brother, have you done a deep dive into Hafley? I like the guy, and to me, he is a real coach's coach. He has the X's and O's and runs a better defense than Flores, with who we have. I expect good things. Jordy Nelson was Jordy Nelson left them and was nothing. Randall Cobb and Lazard. Listen, are you really? These are third or fourth best options on teams, Miller. I'm saying where's the superstars? Where's the superstar players that the Green Bay Packers have drafted? Where's the 1A dudes that the Green Bay Packers have drafted? Do they, Bonnie? I mean, in the last 30 years, yeah, because they've had great quarterback play in the last 30 years. They've been blessed at the quarterback position, and I'll give them that. You've had Drew Brees, or not Drew Brees, Jesus, Brett Favre. You've had Aaron Rodgers. They're two of the greatest, probably top 15 quarterbacks of all time. Top 15 quarterback, Eddie Lacy, the cheeseburglar. Eddie Lacy, the cheeseburglar. Yes, Atlanta. They traded Atlanta for Brett Favre. Yes. Yep. Brett Favre was drafted by the Atlanta Falcons. But Miller, the main reason, it's nothing. This coach, is he getting an interview from any other team? Is he on any other team's radar? How many teams have needed a head coach this year? How many teams have needed a coach this year? Let me break it down to you. Why this isn't the right move for the Miami Dolphins. When a third of the NFL has needed a new head coach this year, how many teams have reached out to this guy for the Jeff Hafley? Is that his name? Jeff Hafley? John Hafley? Jeff Hafley? He only has experience with the Green Bay Packers. Every team has invited Hafley for an interview. Nobody has a problem with the fact that this guy is hiring. He just happens to be hiring his best buddy. His buddy with the Green Bay Packers. Nobody else has a problem with that. And I'm positive the New York Giants didn't interview Jeff Hafley. What three teams is he a finalist for? Maybe the GM was the guy that was there his whole career. Maybe it was the general manager that was there his whole career. Maybe I mixed that up a little bit. I know since Jeff Hafley was hired, the Green Bay Packers defense went down. I'm pretty sure the year before he got there, they were ranked 5th or 6th. This year they were 11th and 12th. Yeah, maybe I think I got the general. That's a little mishap on my part. And I apologize about that. The general manager was there his whole career. That's my fault. So he's a finalist for Tennessee, the Raiders, Dolphins, and Cardinals. Show me some proof of that. What would be funny is if Mike McDaniel was the head coach for the Miami Dolphins or the Buffalo Bills and got to work with Josh Allen. Listen, you guys can have your fandom, your hopium, but the fact that you're telling me that the best option for the Miami Dolphins just happens to come from the same organization we hired our general manager from. Are you telling me that? Let's start being real with ourselves as Dolphin fans. Because you cannot tell me that the best option for the coach of the Miami Dolphins just happens to be the guy that our general manager is most comfortable with. I'm not drinking that Kool-Aid. I don't believe it. Let's not act like Boston College is a powerhouse in college football, neither. Absolutely. That's why it's absolutely the wrong move. We're missing out on the best candidates because they don't want to come to Miami because there's nothing here worth offering. If the Miami Dolphins would have waited 1 year, we would have been the belle of the ball. And that's my issue with this whole situation. The reason you should have fired Mike McDaniel only if there was a better option. A clear-cut better option. None of these people that we're going to bring in are a clear-cut better option. None of them. None of them. He's got to be a known better option for us to make that move. I just don't get, like, I understand being a Dolphin fan and I want to look at the bright side of things too. I want to be positive, but I'm tired of this mess. He has experience leading children, young kids. Bonnie, you're going to co-sign the fact you're telling me that it's no more than a coincidence that the hiring will be of someone that he's comfortable with. He's highly regarded. Do some research, Big C. This guy is top 3 and he ain't 3. We hired Mike when he was offense. He's top 3 in what? He's not a top 3 coaching option this year. John Harbaugh, Sean McDermott, Mike Tomlin, Kevin Stefanski. There's 4 options that beat you. Sometimes, Big C, that's a good thing. More often than not, it's not a good thing. He was an integral part in the Legion of Boom. Richard Sherman speaks highly. Bro, I'm telling you, this is a mistake. And if you guys don't want to see it, that's on you. And that's cool. That's cool. That's your option. You can be happy. You can think there's no way possible, no way. I'm telling you, that's like winning the lottery. That just so happens the place that we get our general manager from is the place we hire our head coach from. It's not real life. It's not real life. It's not real life. And I'm not drinking that Kool-Aid. I'm sorry. I don't care how much people want to talk this dude up. I don't care. It's not the right move. And it wasn't the right time to go get a head coach. Oh, I'm not gonna be stressed because I'm gonna cheer for the guy. I'm gonna cheer for him and I'm gonna hope he succeeds and I'm gonna hope that I'm wrong. I'm just saying, I've seen this shit before, man. I've seen this before. Joe Philbin was highly regarded. Adam Gase was highly regarded. Peyton Manning talked so highly of Adam Gase. Remember that? You remember that? Adam Gase? They talk so highly about Adam Gase. It is a bad thing, Bonnie. It is a bad thing. It's 100% a bad thing. He hired a buddy instead of the best possible. We couldn't get the best possible head coaching option because we're 8th or 9th on the list of most attractive franchises. We couldn't get the best option in Miami. This ain't Philbin. You don't know that. Nobody does. I don't know it. You don't know it. This isn't a good move. It's not a good move. It wasn't the right time. You don't go looking to buy a car when you only got a certain amount of money. You go car shopping when you got enough to buy a car that can do the things you need it to do. You don't go car shopping when you got a 500 credit score. You go when you got a credit score a 750 or better. So you got your pick of options. You can get your best possible option. If you go with a 500 credit score, you're limited on what cars you can buy. You're limited on what cars you can buy. So yeah, there's going to be a best option of those cars that you can buy, but you don't get the option to look at every car. You don't get an option to look at every car. For T4L 305 for one more year, I did want to keep him for one more year. At the very least, I wanted to keep him for one more year. Yep. Because it was a smart move for the Miami Dolphins franchise. It got us to a point as a franchise where we'd be desirable to possible head coaching candidates. It get us to a point where we'd be attractive to coaching candidates. I guarantee if this was next year, we would have got an interview with John Harbaugh in person. We would have got an in-person interview with John Harbaugh. Guarantee it. Why? Because we'd have he'd be able to go out and draft a quarterback in the future. He'd go out and have a bunch of salary cap available. Who's going to be the OC for the Dolphins? I don't know. Probably someone from Green Bay. I mean, like, come on. We're gonna be Green Bay of the South. We're gonna be Green Bay of the South. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, if that's what I'm just telling you, it's a mistake. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm dead wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I'm telling you, the only way to fix this move right now is to throw a curveball and let Weaver coach for 1 year and then go into the coaching search next year where we're not the least attractive option. We're not the least attractive girl at the dance. I don't even care about Harbaugh, Miller. That's not the thing. It wasn't, oh, we missed out on John Harbaugh. I don't care about Harbaugh. I care about top candidates wanting to coach in Miami. Where they want to be in Miami more than they want to be anywhere else. That's what I care about. I don't care about Harbaugh being here. I don't think Harbaugh is the greatest coach in the world, that he would absolutely turn this Miami Dolphins team around. I don't necessarily believe that. But I want guys that, I want a team that the top coaching candidates want interviews with the Miami Dolphins. And I think that would happen again next year. I doubt it. I doubt Joe Brady will be with Buffalo's new head coach. Sean McDermott is one of those top coaching candidates, but there's no way he's coming to Miami. There's no way. There's no way, brother. Now, if it was next year, yeah. I think he would consider Miami. We'd be going into the draft with probably a top draft pick to be able to go into a quarterback heavy draft, get a quarterback, have a bunch of cap room. We're in South Florida, no state taxes, so that's beneficial. Maybe our young guys take another step forward. No way, Miller. That's that real wishful thinking shit. And I get what everybody's saying, but you got to hear me out on this. It's not the right move. You can't tell me it's not. It's too big of a coincidence that the guy that happens to be the best candidate for our head coaching position just happens to come from the place that our general manager just came from. Come on. Absolutely, Raphael. This equals another 3 years, probably 3 years at minimum. 3 years at minimum of more bad Dolphins football. And it might even be more than that because, again, this is his buddy. It's going to take even that much more effort to get him fired. He's got extra emotion in the hiring and keeping this guy afloat. He's not looking at it from the straight football point of view. It's like if you got a stranger and your brother sitting here and, both need a job, but the stranger's more qualified, but your brother, it's your brother. You hiring that brother. Or if you give them both a job, you got your brother and the stranger. Your brother calls in the work, bullshits, doesn't do a good his job as the stranger. You're going to give him a little bit of extra wiggle room. You ain't going to fire him necessarily. The stranger starts doing what the brother's doing. You going to fire him. Nobody wants the Dolphins coaching job right now. Big C, no quarterback, no cap. That's why you should have waited. the GM is always going to want a coach that aligns with his philosophy, and McDaniels wasn't that guy. Who said we need the? What's said that we need to be in a rush to go out and get a general manager anyway? We had another guy here that could have very easily been the general manager for one season. Champ would have done it for one season. If you didn't want to keep McDaniel, you promote Weaver up for a year. Both people are guys that you can move on from. Our general manager position, if we tried to fill it next year, it's going to be more attractive to possible GMs. Also, it's going to be more attractive to GM candidates next year also. The GM gets to come in, draft a quarterback from Jump Street, doesn't got to deal with Tua's contract, has a bunch of cap room. What? Miller, the fact that they're coming from the both from the same team, you cannot tell me that it just happens to be that the best GM candidate and the best coaching candidate came from the Green Bay Packers. Miller, bro, they got you drinking the Kool-Aid, bro. I agree. What up, JD? What up, brother? JD, do you feel comfortable with us bringing in the general manager from the Green Bay Packers and now all of a sudden the top head coaching candidate for the Miami Dolphins? And I guarantee you that he's going to be the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. Happens to come from that same franchise. I hope it does, Edward. I hope it does. But I'm telling you right now, chances are. Please hit that like button. Listen, I talk and I comment with more than 15 people a day in here. I know I do for a fact. And the fact that we get off and I have 8 likes is kind of crazy. That like button right next to the, posting comments button, help a brother out. Hey, listen, we could have fired McDaniel and went Weaver. And I don't think Weaver and McDaniel are the answer long term. But there's a right time to do something. There's a wrong time to do something. There's a right time to do something and a wrong time to do something. You don't break up with a girl the night before Valentine's Day, and you don't fire a coach when you're not going to have the best options available to you to replace them. JD, I want them to continue searching for at least a few more days. JD, you don't have a problem with the fact that there's 10 coaching available. There was 10 coaching jobs available this year, and quite possibly we were the worst option available. Yet that don't affect the quality of head coach that we're going to be able to bring in. You don't feel like that affects the quality of the head coach we're going to bring in? Whereas next year, if we went into it, we'd be maybe we're not the number one option, but we'd be up there. We'd be in the top 3. First and foremost, a third of the league is getting a new head coach this year. So a third of the league automatically don't need a head coach next year. And then you got teams like Jim Harbaugh that's not going to need take a look at the teams that won't need a head coach next year. First and foremost, you're going to have, there's going to be more options. The Broncos aren't going to need a coach next year. The Chargers aren't going to need a coach next year. The Chiefs aren't going to need a coach next year. You got the Jets. Well, maybe the Jets will. Let's go to the NFC. McVay. So the Rams don't. Seattle don't. San Francisco don't. That's 6 teams. Philadelphia. Dallas shouldn't. There'd be way more. There'd be less openings next year, and we'd be at the top of those openings. That's all I got to say. It's a lot of competition for coaches, and it sucks even more that we just don't have anything to offer. At this point, we have very minimal to offer a head coaching candidate. Every other option looks more attractive than us. The Bills became available. Oh, they got Josh Allen. I'm going there. The Ravens are available. Oh, they got Lamar Jackson. I'm going there. The Giants are available. Oh, they got a young quarterback, a young running back, a young wide receiver, a decent defense. I'm going there. Pittsburgh's available. Oh, well, they got the steel curtain defense. You know, that's a great franchise. I'm going there. The Raiders got the number 1 pick in the draft is going to be able to get Anthony Mendoza. I'm going there. You don't know it's not Joe Philbin. Joe Philbin was a very popular name. Adam Gase got, he got a endorsement from one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, Peyton Manning, telling you how brilliant Adam Gase was. And look at what Adam Gase was. Come on. Bonnie, and you're right. Everybody would have been screaming if they didn't fire McDaniel. But everybody was screaming about everything anyway. Half the people screaming about McDaniel getting fired are the same ones that didn't give Tua a shot, are the same ones that, you can't make happy. And I'm saying you could have fired McDaniel, promote Weaver for 1 year. You got to do what's right for the franchise. Obviously, this franchise ain't too concerned with making the fans happy. Obviously, this franchise ain't too concerned with making the fans happy because they continue to make bonehead moves, and I believe this is another one of them. And Bonnie, you're right. All we can do is hope, but I'm tired of hoping. When the writing's on the wall and it's clear to me as a Dolphin fan that has been through this before, it's just, you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm tired of it. JD, I'd be looking forward to it too, but I think we're getting started off on the wrong foot. I think we're automatically getting started on the wrong foot. I think the top coaching candidates next year, we're going to be like, damn, that's a better option than what we probably hired. Did Troy Aikman agree to these? Troy Aikman has no business in reality. He has no experience in doing anything like this. So I don't know why Troy Aikman is the end all be all. What do we have to offer over these other teams, JD? What makes me pretty? What makes us what do we got to offer, JD? More so than these other teams. Location? Okay. What up, Grandizer? So location. That's like putting an ugly girl in a pretty dress. She's still an ugly girl, my friend. She's still an ugly girl. No state tax. Okay. The ugly girl got a nice dress and she might got a car. She's still an ugly girl. She's still an ugly girl. You gonna marry that ugly girl because she got a nice dress and a car? You gonna have kids with that girl because she got a nice dress and an ugly car? Or you want to go and get yourself a pretty girl? They got a car and a nice dress. Or it's all about the meat and potatoes, though. The meat and potatoes. As long as you get a pretty girl, you can get that pretty dress eventually. You can get that car eventually. But the girl got to be pretty. The girl got to be pretty. Ugly girls cheat too. Oh, man. We going down memory lane with Coach Philbin and Gase, man. Such wasted years. I was happy with Philbin hire, but didn't like the Gase hire. An opportunity to shape the team in their direction. You can shape the team in any of those spots. We're limited with how much we can shape the team, though, because we're restricted by our contracts. We're restricted by our salary cap. We're restricted right now. Other teams ain't restricted like we are currently. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, comment, share. Can she cook? You can teach a girl to cook too, brother. You can teach a girl to cook. You can't teach pretty. You can't teach pretty. We need to give it some time, and sometime what's pretty ain't always the right thing for you. Yeah, and that's true, JD. That's true. That's true. I just, man, you can't listen. I'm not one of those people that believe in ghosts. I don't believe in, just, the right thing happening because it happens. There's no way you can tell me that the correct answer to the question was our general manager just happened. The best general manager candidate just happens to come from the same franchise as the best head coaching candidate for the Miami Dolphins. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I think it's not real. It's not the end of the world. It's not. It's not. It's not the end of the world. It's just another setback by this franchise. It's another setback by this franchise. It puts the delay another 2-3 years, in my opinion. I always tell girls I make bomb breakfast tricks, Cheerios, Captain Crunch, etc. Yeah, they gotta stay for they gotta stay to get the breakfast, right? I used to like to ask them what they make for breakfast. Big C, isn't Coach Weaver have one more year on contract? He does. I was wondering why the Finns don't interview him. That's the way to fix this right now. Hire Weaver for one more year. The best bet for this franchise right now is to have a bad year this year. And I know nobody wants to sit through a whole bad season. Nobody wants to wait. But the best bet for the Miami Dolphins is this year is to fail. We want to lose games this year. We do. We want to get to the top of that 2027 draft to get to the quarterback that we want. We want to lose games this year. That's the best thing for this franchise. Yeah, McDermott got fired this morning. We need to get to quarterback of the future next year. McDermott's the perfect scapegoat. The best thing for this Miami Dolphins franchise, you promote McDermott. Listen to my game plan. Listen to it and tell me it doesn't sound better. What the Miami Dolphins are doing right now, they hired general manager of the future. They're going to hire the Green Bay defensive coordinator. They're going to go in. They're going to try to be competitive this year. They're going to win maybe 7 games, 6 games. That's going to give them the 10th pick in the draft. That's what the Dolphins are doing this year. This is what the Dolphins should do this year. What the Dolphins should do this year is promote Weaver. Promote Weaver, the head coach. Let Weaver coach. Let Quinn Ewers start this year. Don't go out and get another quarterback. Let Quinn Ewers start. Try the trade Waddle. Go through the season. Just go through the season. Let Quinn Ewers play. Do what you can do. I guarantee this team wins 4 games. That takes you the next year. We got a top 5 pick with some other draft ammunition that we picked up along the way. We'll have a top 5 pick and a bunch of draft capital we picked up along the way for trading Waddle, whoever else we can get rid of that makes sense. You fire Weaver. I mean, we got this general manager, but I would say we shouldn't have hired a general manager yet. You would have fired Champ. So let's say we keep the general manager, John Eric Ryan. We keep him. We fire Weaver. Mind you, again, we got a top 5 pick. We get to get rid of Tua. He comes off the books. So now we got $130 million in cap room or whatever we're going to have. We got a top 5 draft pick to be able to get the quarterback of the future. You go out and you hire the top possible coaching candidate. And this time you get to interview and hire probably your pick of the pot. Your pick of the litter. Because people are going to want to come in and draft their own quarterback. People like that you got $130 million in room. People like that you're in South Florida. People like that you don't have state income tax. People might like whoever you picked up in last year's draft. People might like that you got Chop Robinson. Maybe he takes a step forward. Maybe people like that you got Kenneth Grant. He makes a leap forward this year. So now you get a top coaching candidate with a top 5 pick in the draft and a bunch of salary cap room. So now you're able to compete in 2027. If you do what I said right now, you'll be able to compete for a playoff spot in 2027. You should have your quarterback of the future 2027 moving forward. You should have your coach of the future 2027 moving forward. It won't be so much of a question mark like it will be if you hire Jeff Hafley. It'll be much more calculated as a sure thing as it can get in the NFL. And JD, it does sound good, and it's not going to happen. But why wouldn't it happen? Why doesn't it happen? That's not the direction they're going in because it makes sense. And if me, this average NFL guy, I'm not a columnist. I'm just a fan of the Miami Dolphins. If a fan of the Miami Dolphins can come up with a plan and lay the plan out for you and show you that this is the best way to get to being a successful franchise, why can't these highly intelligent people that have been in football their whole lives, because it's not a complicated thing. It's not a complicated thing. But yeah, here we are. Here we are. And again, I hope I'm wrong. I'm hoping that Jeff Halfley comes in and they are the dynamic duo. John Eric Sullivan and you know what I mean? Jeff Halfley are the greatest things since white bread. I hope these guys come in and just woo, woo. I hope Quinn Ewers is the quarterback of the future too. I truly do. Because that's what's best for my Miami Dolphins. JD, these guys are highly intelligent. You would think people, they should be. It's not a complicated game plan. My thing's not complicated. You think that one of them would be like, hey, look, maybe we should do this. This makes sense. It don't make sense to fire the coach when, people don't want to come to Miami. But it is what it is. But I do hope I'm wrong. Please don't think I'm being a hater. I'm not going to cheer for Halfley's downfall. I'm not going to cheer for John Eric Sullivan's downfall. I hope these guys succeed. I'm not going to pray that they don't, so I look right on the internet, or that my podcast hopefully can eventually get to 1,000 subscribers. I need you all to stop slacking a little bit. Hit that like button. Help a brother out. Help a brother out like they help all the big wigs out. You know what I mean? But I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I swear to God, I do. I really do. I'm not a hater. Trust that. I don't wish down upon my Dolphins. All I want to see is a Super Bowl before I die. I want to see a Super Bowl championship before I die. And, man, back 20 years ago, I thought there's no way. There's no way that I won't get to see that. Now I start to worry. Now, you know what I mean? Now I'm worried. But we know who our next head coach is. And if that I'm not a psychic. But that shows you right there, trust me, that shows you right there the fact that I can tell you who our head coach is going to be when they're still doing interviews. When they're still doing interviews, still investigating who should be the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. The fact that I know who that coach is going to be, you guys know who that coach is going to be before the interviewing process is done. It just shows you that they're not doing it for the right reasons. And I'm not saying the guy doesn't have any qualifications, but this is not strictly what's best for the Miami Dolphins. This is what's best for these buddies who've been together. That's what's best. That's what they're doing. What's best for them too. The coach is in 22. No, I did not see that. I'm trying to look. I don't see. Yeah, I don't see it, JD. But I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, I'm going to continue to hope and pray that, good things happen for this franchise. I hope that we are. I'm tired of seeing us not in the playoffs. I'm tired of cheering for watching other teams in the playoffs, and I'm just tired of it. It's time for a change. 100% yes, man, for owner, not right move. Yes, different direction to crap. I mean, what? How can you say it's the right move necessarily when we can all name the next head coach before the interviewing process is done. Packers are a successful organization. I don't mind mimicking them. How successful are they? They've hit home runs on quarterback. Other than that, I mean, they got 2 Super Bowls over the last 70 years. 2 Super Bowls in the last 70 years. In 22, there was 10 openings, and now 8 of those 10 are open again, and that includes the Dolphins. And the results are not that great. Grandizer, it doesn't take a rocket scientist. It doesn't take a rocket scientist. If he was a top coaching option, Atlanta would be having him. He'd be in Atlanta or be in New York or take the Ravens job or take Buffalo. If he was a top candidate, he would not be considering the Dolphins. A top candidate wouldn't come to Miami because there's better jobs available. That's why Mike McDaniel came to the Dolphins, because nobody else wanted Mike McDaniel. Nobody else was giving Mike McDaniel the job. He knew that, so he came to Miami. And I'm not talking bad about the dude neither. He's just not the right hire. He's not the right guy for this job. He's not the right guy. I'm not saying the guy's terrible. He's not the right guy. I don't know who's going to be available next year, brother. The right candidates this year was John Harbaugh, Mike Tomlin, Sean McDermott now. All those guys I would take over this guy. And we didn't have a chance at any of them. We weren't in the conversation. John Harbaugh wouldn't even give us an interview. McDermott's not going to give us an interview. I hear those argues that they say he is a big name. If he was a big name, he'd get one of the big positions available. Who does not agree that the Ravens job is a better job than Miami? Who does not believe the Buffalo Bills job is not better than Miami? Who does not believe that the Falcons job is better than Miami? Who does not believe that the Raiders job is better than Miami? They're going to go to what's best for that. What's best for John Eric Sullivan? That's who they're going with. What's best for him? That's all they're doing is going for who's best for John Eric Sullivan. Not best for the franchise. Who's best for John Eric Sullivan? Yeah, Raiders have number 1 pick. They're going to get Anthony Mendoza. They're going to get Mendoza. They're going to have a franchise quarterback with a franchise running back and a franchise tight end. Miller, you can't say that with a straight face, brother. Hafley is the best for this franchise. You're crazy. You're absolutely fucking crazy. Bro, come on. Come on. He's the best candidate for this job. How do you say that? How do you say that? Hafley's a better candidate than McDermott, Harbaugh, Tomlin. He just been chilling in Green Bay or for whatever team he came from before that, and nobody else in the NFL sees that this guy is such a top coaching candidate. Oh, I know how it's going to go. I know how it's going to go. They're going to give this guy an absurd amount of time to rebuild. The rebuild's going to go terribly, and we're going to be having a coaching search 5 years from now. I didn't care about having John Harbaugh neither, but John Harbaugh is a better candidate than this dude. I'm not worried. I'm just tired of the, you know, the the fans continually drinking the Kool-Aid for, like, we got to wake up as a fan base and realize that this team doesn't make the smart moves. They don't make the smart moves. If he's best for Sullivan, isn't that a good thing? I'm sure Sullivan wants to be successful. I'm sure Sullivan does too. But we don't know if Sullivan is necessarily. I think Sullivan making this choice because Sullivan's comfortable with him shows that Sullivan's probably not the right guy for this job. To me, this shows that Sullivan's not the right guy for the general manager position. The fact that he'd rather hire his buddy than to hire a top candidate. The fact that Sullivan's not coming up with the game plan that I think works best. If I was Sullivan, I'd give Sullivan a lot of props. If he went to Ross and was like, "Hey, let's bring Weaver on for a year. Let's make Weaver the head coach. Next year, we'll be able to get a top coaching candidate." Nah, hey, my buddy over here needs a job. Come on. Chris Shula don't want this job. Chris Shula don't really want this job. Nobody really wants this job. It's not attractive. And that's not who Sullivan's going to hire. Hit that like button for me, please. He's going to hire his dude. That's what it is. He's going to hire his dude. Bottom line. 100% facts. His dude that's not even on other dudes, he wasn't a realistic option for any of these teams. If Miami doesn't hire Hafley, nobody's hiring Hafley. Believe that. I don't know what other head coaches people like. I don't know. It's hard to say. People does more with less. We have as good a roster on D as the Packers. Micah Parsons was out for a whole. Hafferty was working on. First off, he wasn't out for the whole year. First and foremost, how many first round picks are on that Green Bay Packers defense? They're not firing. They're not hiring Hafley neither. If the Dolphins don't hire Hafley, he won't get a job. Bet that, Miller. Bet that. If the Dolphins don't, for some reason, hire Hafley, which I know they're gonna. I bet you $50 nobody hires Hafley. The Browns got a better candidate as their defensive coordinator than Halfley. The Browns' defensive coordinator is a monster. First time general manager, soon to be first time head coach. Miami Dolphins haven't learned. Oh, and they just happen to be buddies. He's not a top candidate for multiple teams. In every team that you mentioned, you name the eighth best, ninth best, the seventh, eighth, and ninth best options that he was a candidate for. Again, I hope I'm wrong, but I don't believe so. We'll hear that Halfley was hired by the Miami Dolphins in the next couple days, and you'll see. What is he gonna say? What is he gonna say? Just like John Eric Sullivan's interview for the Miami Dolphins. He cut and paste what general managers are supposed to say after getting hired by their new teams. This is what I want to do. This is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to change the culture. I'm trying to bring a winning attitude. I'm trying to bring something that's last. He cut and paste. That's what every general manager says. Cleveland has Myles Garrett. What Dolphins have? Bust, bust, bust of players. Yeah, I don't know what the right answer for the general manager position was. I would have liked someone from Philadelphia. They show that they can build a football team. Uh, the Baltimore Ravens, Ozzie Newsome's the best that's ever done it. Uh, Kansas City Chiefs, they're pretty good at drafting players. Uh, Green Bay, like I said, Green Bay has been very fortunate that they've had two of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game of football over the last 30 years. I think if you take away the quarterback from the Packers, I mean, I think they're a 5-6 win team for the last 20 years, 30 years. If you take away Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers from the Green Bay Packers, they're a 5-6 win team over the course of the last 30 years with no Super Bowls. With no Super Bowls. So unless you got Aaron Rodgers or a young Brett Favre coming through the door, that you can just ride their jockstrap, I think this combo is going to struggle. You got very lucky with the Pats thing. I'll give Miller credit. I'll give you as much credit as you give me for coming on this podcast. You know what I mean? When you over there super chatting TD and you don't send me no love. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm not saying he scouted Brett Favre. I'm saying that the Packers, we're giving too much credit to the success of the general managers, the front office of the Green Bay Packers, when the success is clearly the fact that they've had two of the greatest quarterbacks. I'm not giving these general managers credit for scouting Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers. I think they had nothing to do with bringing Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers to the Green Bay Packers. John Sullivan might have had a little bit of a say as far as Jordan Love goes, but Jordan Love, it's still out on him. You know what I mean? That's what he's got. Jordan Love, he's not necessarily a franchise quarterback yet. What has Jordan Love done? Jordan Love's been decent. Yeah, Jordan Love's not. We're not. Jordan Love isn't in the same conversation as Brett Favre or Karen Rodgers. All right, this video wasn't supposed to be that long because I still feel like garbage. I'm going to continue to try to make videos throughout the week. Hopefully, I start to feel better because this shit really kicking my ass. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And again, I hope I'm wrong. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. You know, if John Sullivan brings in Jeff Hafley, hey, I'm going to cheer for him. I'm going to hope that he does good. I'm not going to hate on him. I just don't think it's the right move. I think there's better options available. I think there's a better path to get this team in the best situation possible. And I think we're taking the easy way out. I think we're taking the easy way out. But I love y'all. I appreciate you all. And I will see y'all later. Hit that like button for me, please. And you know what it is. Fins up. Peace.
Yo. Big C in the house. You know the name. Fin Posse Podcast. Changing the game. Fins up high. Feel the aqua and orange. Miami Heat blazing, we scorching the floor. Marino the tour, we stacking the saga. Legacy deep, call it football nirvana. Big C, break it down, got the stats in his veins. Play by play knowledge like he's calling the chains. Fins flying on the field, opponents feel the blast. Tyreek cheetah speed, leaving DBs in the past. Waddle with the wiggle, defense with the clamp. Aqua drip so clean, whole squash the champ. Tune in, Big C, got the mic on lock. Fin Posse Podcast, it's the cream of the crop. Breaking news, hot takes, repping the block. For the Dolphin faithful, it's the one-stop shop. Fin Posse, we the voice of the fans. Miami stand tall, got the world in our hands. Best podcast, yo, ain't no debate. Big C, big vibes, setting it straight. Defense smash, call it Aqua Tsunami. X locking routes like a South Beach Armani. O-line holding strong, trenches like a fortress. Big C dissected, no stack goes dormant.